a long minute. Hi, folks. My name is Kira Havens. I am the Executive Director of Citizens Impeachment, and I'm thrilled to be here today with Jen Johansson of Recent Reality and our newly formed coalition of courage candidates who are here to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That's the same mission that Citizens Impeachment started with back in April. We have 6,000 people, 6,000 ordinary Americans across every single congressional district who have stood up to say that this administration and this president are unfit and unconstitutional. And for 6 months, they have been reaching out to their representatives, asking them to take action. And we have seen nothing. Most representatives are waiting. They're waiting for the public. They're waiting for the midterms. They are waiting for something so despicable that it moves their needle and they are forced to take action. Just minutes ago, Donald Trump, a petty king who wants to be a tyrant, or a petty president who wants to be a tyrant, said that he was going to challenge his political enemies, not in the court of law, not in a democratic manner, but he wants to kill them. That is tyranny, and America has been removing tyrants since 1776. So I'm asking Congress, what are you waiting for? If you need something else, how about treason? I'm a veteran of the United States Air Force. This president has gathered his generals together and told them that he is waging a war from within, that it's going to be these generals' job to wage war on American cities and American citizens. This is treason. Tyranny and treason. We must impeach. The Constitution demands it. If Congress will not take action, we will. And that is why we are here today. These candidates that you are about to hear speak, they are here to demand that we follow the Constitution. They are here to pick up that oath of office that the incumbents refuse to. When they are elected, they will bring the articles of impeachment for tyranny and treason to the floor of the House on day one, and they will do it together. We have organized this coalition in 2 days, literally, and already 27 candidates have signed on to endorse these articles of impeachment and bring them to the floor of the House when they win their races. I am thrilled to have them here today and to introduce them all to you. I'm going to turn it over to Jen, who started this coalition as a signal chat, to tell the story of how all these people came together to defend our democracy when it needs it most. Thank you all for being here. Jen, come on up.
I'm going to start by saying thank you all for being here. Very, very, very genuinely. I'm Dr. Jen Johansson. I'm a director at the Recent Reality Project. I'm a dentist turned leadership consultant who learned very quickly that the most complex problems are not always clinical. They're cultural, they're systemic, and they require a lot more than just good intentions. They require clear thinking, honest conversations, and the courage to challenge the narratives that divide us. Reasoned Reality is a progressive think tank and an independent media project built on one core principle. When people are given evidence, clarity, space to both feel safe and think freely, they choose a better future. Our work confronts rigid belief systems, defends secular democracy, and brings evidence-based storytelling into spaces where misinformation has thrived. We're building a movement not rooted in ideology, but in reason, compassion, and measurable impact. We uplift change makers. We defend liberty and justice for all. And we do so by building initiatives strong enough to move culture and grounded enough to create real outcomes. So several months ago, I started to interview these folks. I would reach out in DMs, and if you know me well, I send a quick message and then I send a video, and I'm my hair's wet, my hair's in a bun, I'm not put together, and I'm hi, nice to meet you, I'm Jen, you don't know me. You called me out for being chaotic in DMs, and it was lovely. But it's human, and that's how we connect. I know, and that's how this started. So I began hosting interviews with grassroots candidates for both the U.S. House and Senate, leaders who have been overlooked, underestimated, and often left to fight uphill battles alone. And those conversations, as they grew deeper, something became unmistakably clear. These candidates didn't just need visibility, they needed community. So our coalition was created in the form of a signal chat, an ecosystem where they could support one another, workshop messaging, crowdsource strategy, and most importantly, manifest hope. What began as interviews became a network, and our network grew into a community, and today we're a movement of leaders who refuse to choose between moral clarity and strategic power. It's my privilege to introduce them to you now, the Courage candidates. And before we bring them forward, I want to share the message that's at the heart of Reasoned Reality's mission, written by a member of our team as the compass of the work we do. And I'm just going to give a quick shout out to David Clayton here, because a few minutes after we posted this video for the first time several months ago, you DM'd me and you're like, can I collab? I love this. What is this? So thank you for that. Okay. We didn't bleed to escape a king, just to bow before a pulpit. We won our freedom on the battlefield, but earning it for everyone would take generations. At every step, we chose courage. We separated religion from government by design, not by accident. That was the brilliance of this country. We built it into the framework so that liberty and justice wouldn't be for some, but for all. We were not a perfect union, but we were founded with the capacity to become one. The arc of liberty will always bend wider when people keep pushing. So we keep pressing until those freedoms apply to everyone, and until liberty and justice truly belong to all. And today I'm honored to introduce the leaders who are carrying this promise forward, introducing the Courage candidates, the next wave of leadership who will make this nation what it was always meant to be. Thank you.
Well, hello, America, and to my Montana constituents back home. I'm Russell Cleveland, running for U.S. House, Montana District 1. Before I jump into what brings me here today, I want you to consider two important questions. Questions that every generation before us has had to consider and answer for themselves. The first is, what type of country do we want to live in? Think about it. And maybe more importantly, what type of country do we hope to leave behind? You see, in America, we can no longer afford to measure success by the size of a person's bank account or by artificial symbols of status. Our founding fathers would have never tolerated our country becoming an oligarchy, and so neither should we. We instead should measure success by the health of our children, by the strength of our communities, and by whether our seniors can retire in dignity. We should measure success by whether a working family can actually make it here in every rural, urban, and suburban corner of this country without being forced out by rising costs or shrinking opportunities. We must measure success by whether our elected leaders actually uphold their oath to the Constitution and stay committed to operate in the best interest of the people, not just themselves or their wealthy donors. My friends, I'm running for Congress in Montana because right now, too many of the people in power in this very city are disregarding that oath. They're actively working to destroy the fabric of our representative democracy. They want absolute power, leaving none for the people. They're building a world where healthcare is treated like a luxury, where veterans are thanked in words but abandoned in practice, and where families work harder and harder every single year just to fall farther behind. They cut critical programs to our communities, instead helping the wealthiest few inch closer to becoming trillionaires, helping pedophiles hide in plain sight, and helping corporations exploit a planet that is literally begging us for mercy. They're building a country where our public lands will be auctioned off to the highest bidder and massacred for corporate profit. A country where a federal masked police force is traumatizing our communities, disappearing innocent people because of their race or their country of origin, just like we once saw in the early years of Nazi Germany. They are building a country where billions of our hard-earned dollars are being sent to other countries first, instead of taking care of Americans, leaving our next generation a massive bill that they will not be able to pay from choices that they never even had the chance to make. That is not the country that I want to live in. And it sure as hell isn't the country that I want to leave behind. That's why I stand shoulder to shoulder with other true patriots this week. Americans rooted in integrity, who believe deeply in upholding our Constitution. We stand together to demand the impeachment of the entire Trump regime so that our country can begin healing from the hateful dumpster fire that this administration has created. Our great nation needs heroes in this moment, and not the type that wear masks or capes or who have superpowers. It needs the people who wake up every morning, who make their own lunch, who lace up their boots and put up their hair, and who work tirelessly to provide for their families and to keep this country running. This country needs the people that for centuries it has faithfully protected, giving us freedoms that others around the world could only dream of. This isn't about parties. This is bigger than politics. This is about protecting our Constitution, the protective armor that shields all of humanity from tyranny. That's the America that I grew up in. That's the America that, as a veteran, I swore an oath to defend. And that's the America that I'm fighting to bring back. So today, I stand before you as a father, as a coach, as a small business owner, as a veteran, a Montanan, and a proud American to demand the impeachment, conviction, and removal of Donald J. Trump. Thank you.
Hello, thank you all for coming. My name is David Clayton. I'm challenging 82-year-old Virginia Fox of North Carolina's District 5. You know, I had a whole speech written out, but seeing Donald Trump's last words calling out any kind of opposition to him as sedition or treason or traitorous, issuing threats, death threats to Democrats, even Republicans like Massey, anyone that dares to question his ultimate authority. We have an issue today with our country, and it's beyond politics. It's beyond party. And frankly, with Donald Trump, it always has been. This is about power and control. This is not about the Constitution. On day one of winning my race against a Donald Trump allegiant loyalist that pledges an oath to a wannabe dictator over the Constitution, I will introduce articles of impeachment. And I hope every single one of my fellow candidates, fellow congresspersons will as well. It's a shame that there are so few currently in office that are still even on the fence of debating whether or not to do it. Because this has nothing to do with party politics. This has nothing to do with politics. You're either for the Constitution or you're not. If Joe Biden had done 1/10 of anything Donald Trump is doing today, I'd be calling for Joe Biden's impeachment. Politics and party aside, this is simply about the Constitution, we the people. I'm going to keep this very short for you because apparently I'm a seditionist. Apparently being anti-fascist makes you a terrorist today in this land of the free, home and birthplace of Antifa. Well, Donald Trump, I say make duels legal again because you are a coward and your entire administration needs to come down. Impeachment is just the start. And honestly, it's frankly too polite for an unpolite scoundrel such as yourself. My name is David Clayton. Clayton, the number 4nc.com. I don't scare. I don't intimidate. And you'll be damn sure I don't falter. Thank you.
Hello, America. I'm Maria Elena Kinter, Navy veteran, nuclear reactor supervisor, and congressional candidate for Florida's 7th District. I'm running because our government is fundamentally broken. We are in a crisis of leadership, and the people in the House and the Senate have failed us in their sworn duty. And as a U.S. Navy sailor, that is the same oath I swore: to uphold the Constitution and to defend against all enemies, foreign and domestic. As a nuclear professional, I know the attention to detail and accountability are nonpartisan. And I know the cost of inaction when emergencies are ignored. We assess threats before they escalate, and we act. Facts are facts, and we know that this administration is unfit and tramples on the rule of law. We see it in their attempts to override the constitutional guarantee of birthright citizenship, in the defiance of court orders and the withholding of congressionally appropriated funds. We see it in the trading of cryptocurrency for political pardons and in the acts we saw today via Truth Social. If Congress had 1 ounce of courage, they would act. But they haven't. So I will, and every patriot here today will. When elected, I will stand with Representative Al Green and everyone here today to introduce articles of impeachment for violations of due process, bribery, and corruption, just to start. This crisis isn't just at the top and isn't just with the president. We see it right here in Florida's 7th District, where I'm running. Congressman Corey Mills has continuously proven that his dedication is not to public service, it is only to self-service. And the message is clear. His constituents are ready for change. Within the last 48 hours, the House Ethics of Committee has voted to formally investigate him for a long list of alleged corruptions, from sexual misconduct to domestic violence to misusing congressional funds and violating campaign finance laws. This is unacceptable, and I am ready for change, and everyone in Central Florida is ready for that same change. I'm not running just to be a voice of opposition. I'm running to be a fierce fighter for every working class family in this district, to solve the problems that have been ignored for decades, while politicians like Corey Mills get rich and scam all of us. If you want to lower the cost of living, I'm your partner. If you want corruption and money out of politics, I'm your representative. And if you want to protect and take care of our veterans, I am your veteran to do that. This is the difference. I am unbought and I am unafraid. My loyalty is only to the people. My campaign is 100% free of all foreign policy money, all foreign interests, all corruption in industry and corporate money, and I'm running a campaign built on delivering tangible results to our community members every day. From food drives, clothing drives, and community cleanups that are meant to uplift every single person in our Central Florida community, regardless of party, now and every day until the election and after. My naval service taught me what real accountability, teamwork, and integrity looks like. And I will bring that same integrity to Congress, along with every patriot in this room. We are the new generation of legislators. We are the United States of America. And we are choosing to uphold our Constitution and our nation together. Thank you.
Hello, America. I'm Kaya Creekmore, and yes, I'm 24 years old, Gen Z American. I'm running for Congress in North Carolina's 5th District against Virginia Fox. We are not too young. Gen Z is growing up in a world where everything that our ancestors inherited is not what we're inheriting. They inherited the benefits and the fruits of all the good policy, and then they passed down all the corruption and the bribery and the scandals, the sex trafficking of children, and taking away food from the poor. I'm running for office because I'm disgusted with the corruption of our administration, and obviously with the amount of people that showed up for the No Kings. They're obviously very disgusted with the same things. there's many of us, especially in this room, absolutely over it. Trump uses the Oval Office like a crime syndicate instead of working for the American people. Foreign bribes, crypto scams, tax fraud, deals with Saudi Arabia, the same regime linked to 9/11 in cutting up and dismembering and breaking apart an American journalist. He's turned his back on our government and the American people. He's turned our money into his own personal piggy bank. He's a racist. He's a rapist. He's a domestic terrorist in his own country, the United States. Absolutely embarrassing us on the world stage every single day, including today, where he's wished death on some of our service members in Congress, just because they asked for our other service members to not follow unlawful orders, which is explicitly what they're required to do. Congress is too cowardly to say it out loud. So I will. Americans are exhausted by a system that lets rich predators play king while the rest of us can't even afford groceries. While families are rationing, Trump is still right now fighting judges to stop poor people from eating. He wants to follow the law when it comes to helping Americans, but then when it comes to killing people, he doesn't know what a law even means. While his inner circle enjoys gilded balls and private jets, families in North Carolina's 5th District are just choosing between rent and groceries and whether or not they're going to afford their pills and their prescriptions. That's not policy. That's just cruelty. Trump and his administration wants America hungry and hurting, accepting this as normal. The corruption of this administration is hurting us all, even the folks that once voted for him. And our elected representative, Virginia Fox, keeps voting for it. Congress should have stopped this a long time ago. Since Trump's came into office and all of the many unlawful things he's done, he's only been impeached one time, this administration. On day one, when I'm elected, will introduce articles of impeachment for tyranny and treason alongside the coalition of our courage candidates here today and the many others that have signed up. And I call for a full-scale investigation, not just of Trump, but all the billionaires and the appointees that propped him up while silencing we the people. This isn't about Democrats or Republicans or what side of the aisle you're on. It's about right or wrong and whether the truth still matters at all. It's about accountability and protecting our future for us young people and our kids and many older people's kids who are growing up into this world that want a better world but can't see it in this administration. I'm part of a new generation of candidates who will call out the corruption and take action. We don't have corporate donors. We just have each other. Me, you, neighbors, friends and family, our congregation at church. It's just us. We're not here to play politics. We're here to fix what's broken. We are the United States of America, and we will fight for our democracy with truth and courage and conviction that America deserves, and leaders who will feed the hungry and not ones that just steal the future. Thank you, guys.
Hey, y'all. My name is Bree Woodson, and I am running for Georgia's 12th Congressional District. I'm running because our democracy is at a crossroads. We need courage to face a president that has betrayed the American people and broken their trust. I know what courage looks like. I've lived through addiction, I was trafficked, and I experienced systemic collapse. I didn't just survive, I rebuilt my life from the ground up. I became a counselor in residency. I'm an activist, training to protect our most vulnerable communities. With integrity and courage, there is always, always a path forward to a new future, if you are brave enough to take it, that is. Sadly, not everyone elected to office has this bravery and believes this. Representative Rick Allen has held his seat for 11 years, and each election his margins shrink. Georgians are crossing party lines because Georgians are crossing party lines because reality on the ground no longer matches the rhetoric and the propaganda. The pain in our communities is real, and it's bipartisan. We know better, and we're speaking out. Rick Allen has sworn an oath to defend the Constitution. That oath demands courage. So far, he has refused to protect Georgia from the unconstitutional excesses of this president. I have the courage needed. As a courage candidate, I will represent and fight for all constituents in Georgia 12, whether they vote for me or not. You don't have to like me, you just have to let me fight for you. That is my commitment. On day one, I will join my colleagues to introduce articles of impeachment, not out of partisanship, but because accountability is our constitutional obligation. And yes, if those violating our statutes were from a different party, I would hold them to the same exact standard. Because truth doesn't change, and neither does our constitutional oath. Restoring integrity to America means unseating those who refuse to uphold their oath of office, whether that's Trump, whether that's Allen. My leadership comes from lived experience, not from special interests or party insiders. I turned hardship into a life of service as a counselor, a mental health professional, a writer, and an activist. That journey taught me to take risks, speak truth, and refuse fear. I advocate for collaboration, for teamwork. As courage candidates, our strength is not just in individual bravery, it's collective resolve. We are rooted in accountability, justice, and constitutional fidelity. We are Americans helping Americans. We speak truths that break through propaganda. We choose country over party. We are the United States of America. We are stronger together, and together we are choosing our nation for the good of every generation to come. Thank you.
Hi, America. I'm Demi Palachuk. I'm a 14-year veteran of the Army Illinois National Guard, a pro-peace activist, and a candidate for Illinois State Representative in the 13th District. I took an oath to defend the Constitution against enemies, foreign and domestic, and that oath does not expire when I take off my uniform. And right now, we face domestic threat to everything that our Constitution stands for. I spent the last weeks in Chicago organizing against ICE raids in Broadview, providing mutual aid to families who are torn apart by deportation terror, and speaking out against militarization of our communities. I wear the uniform to protect America, not to see the military used to terrorize our neighbors. The Trump administration isn't just breaking laws, it's shredding the constitutional order. That's why I joined this coalition, calling for impeachment of our top priority. This isn't a partisan of politics. This is about defending our democracy against tyranny and treason. We can't just wait for Washington to save us. The fight isn't just in Washington. Illinois must be a firewall against fascism, our neighbors, our cities, and our state houses. That's where we are stopping fascism. We need state-level leaders who will fight back, protect our communities, and refuse to cooperate with these unconstitutional federal overreach. I didn't serve this country to watch it slide into fascism. I serve to protect the community, the Constitution, and all people in the country. And that's exactly what I'm doing now. I know what it means to serve something bigger than myself. And today that means standing up, speaking out, and organizing resistance. It means impeachment, and it means sanctuary. It means refusing to be complicit. I remain steadfast in my commitment to fighting fascism, whether that's on the streets of Broadview or on the floor of Illinois House State. I will not back down, and I will not be silent. I will not follow illegal orders, and I will not stop organizing until we remove the threat to our democracy. And that's my commitment to all of you and to this country. So join me, join us. This is how we are fighting back. So please fight with me, get connected, and get involved at DemiForIllinois.com. Thank you.
Good afternoon, America. My name is Ashley Bell. I'm a physician associate, an educator, and I'm running for Congress to confront corruption, defend our freedoms, and fight for affordable, accessible health care for all. I'm running because people deserve leaders who put service ahead of self-interest. Right now, too many politicians put power, profit, and ideology above the people they chose to serve, and that has to stop. I live in the only state in this country that is operating without an enacted budget. Communities in the western part of the state can't rebuild from a national disaster, while the federal government withholds recovery funds. Our lawmakers brag about redistricting schemes and voter suppression tactics like they are trophies. Proposed Medicaid cuts threaten coverage for over 270,000 people in my state, putting hospitals and lives at risk. And in my district, right now, as we speak, aggressive immigration raids are happening in public spaces, schools, churches, hospitals, targeting people by the color of their skin. State-sanctioned officers are pointing guns at those who dare to film their abuses. And yes, even American citizens who speak out are being targeted. If you haven't guessed, I'm talking about North Carolina. And despite all of this, North Carolinians are using their voices. They're choosing country over party. They are done being lied to. This isn't about politics. It's about accountability. It's about defending our constitutional republic against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Which brings me to my opponent, incumbent Republican Pat Harrigan, a self-declared fanboy of our tyrant-in-chief. Pat called for the National Guard to be deployed to Charlotte, a city that is outside our district, because it didn't vote for Trump. Now he's silent as Border Patrol and ICE destabilize families and economies right here in North Carolina's 10th district, a district that doesn't even touch an international border. Let me be clear. When our leaders abuse power, violate the Constitution, and terrorize their own people, impeachment isn't optional. It's necessary. It's constitutional, and it's overdue. I won't be one of those members of Congress hiding under their desk. I'll stand up and say what too many are too cowardly to admit. No president, not Trump, not anybody, gets to attack our democracy and walk away without consequences. North Carolina deserves better. America deserves better. And I'm running to make damn sure the era of fear, fascism, and political cowardice comes to an end. I'm Ashley Bell, and I'm running for Congress to represent North Carolina's 10th district. We are the courage candidates. We choose country over party, and we are the United States of America. Thank you.
Good afternoon, America. My name is Harry Jaron. I'm running in Maryland's 5th Congressional District against my 86-year-old congressman and former House Majority Leader, Steny Hoyer. And thank you for your service, Representative Hoyer, but I think you can see from the candidates here today that our generation can take up the watch now. I'm a firefighter. I want to start with something that I think everyone understands instinctively, which is that when a fire starts, you don't sit around waiting for itself to burn out. That's not a real strategy. And I've spent my life running towards emergencies rather than away from them. That's why I'm running for office, and that's also why the courage candidates here and citizens' impeachment matter. We're organizing, we're pressuring members of Congress to step up at the district level, and we're forcing votes that a lot of leadership would rather avoid. We're a grassroots movement demanding accountability, and we are taking this constitutional crisis head on. So in my job, I work as a consultant for a lot of fire departments around the country, and I've seen some examples of great leadership in the fire service. But frankly, I've also seen a lot of fire chiefs who would rather paper over the cracks in their own departments because those problems make them look bad. And unfortunately, our Congress has developed that same culture of complacency. One reason that I think you see older representatives like Steny Hoyer, they don't call what the Trump administration is doing fascism, because doing so would mean admitting that fascism happened on their watch. It means admitting that Congress weakened itself by normalizing executive overreach. And it's easier psychologically to pretend that Trump is just an aberration rather than an existential threat to our democracy. I don't have to rehash everything that the Trump administration is doing up to and including what Donald Trump said today. But thanks to the Supreme Court, we now live in a country where the president has immunity for quote unquote official acts, no matter how heinous. And that leaves just one branch of government, Congress, with one last tool to defend this democracy, and that's impeachment. And don't get me wrong, criminal prosecution is still on the table for all of Trump's underlings. Don't you forget that. But impeachment is the only tool that we have right now for Donald Trump himself. America, we do not have to go down the path of Vladimir Putin in Russia or Viktor Orban in Hungary, men who rose to power through democratic elections and then enriched and entrenched themselves in power using the machinery of the state. There's still time, but here's the hard truth. This crisis won't end until Congress reclaims its constitutional authority. It's just that simple. The power of the purse, the power of oversight, and yes, the power to impeach, convict, and remove the President of the United States. Impeaching Donald Trump is not an extreme act. It is the bare minimum required to defend the Constitution. And it won't happen if we leave it to the same people who spent a whole decade now pretending that this was all just normal politics. And that's why so many first-time candidates are stepping up. We are the nucleus of a renewed Congress that understands the emergency that we're living through and is not afraid to confront this nation's rising authoritarianism head on. We're not afraid to use the tools that the Constitution gives us. And we're not going to stand by while a lawless president attempts to become a king. This country is worth saving from fascism. We are the United States of America. We demand accountability for this corrupt regime, and we are taking the fight for our democracy directly to Congress. If they won't impeach, we will on day one. Make sure you check out all of these courage candidates up here. If you want to look me up, my website is Harry, Harry, MD5.com. Thank you all so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dylan Blaha, and I'm running for Congress in Illinois' 13th District to fix a system that no longer works for working people. Our current system takes away health care to give tax cuts to billionaires. It provides weapons to a country openly committing a genocide. And it starts endless wars for imperialist gain. We can and will do better. America is a nation of many cultures, languages, and legacies, all united under one flag. That is what makes America truly great. And that truth is inconvenient to those who profit from division and pain. I'm a former cancer research scientist, in addition to a pro-peace Army veteran who will not follow illegal orders, and an advocate for the most vulnerable in our communities. My commitment is to uphold the oath I swore as a service member to defend our constitutional republic against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Today, we face a domestic enemy in Donald J. Trump. The president has embraced authoritarianism. He has embraced fascism. We've watched this administration trample our rights and undermine the foundations of our republic. Under Trump's direction, we've seen unconstitutional cuts to healthcare, education, and scientific research, just to name a few. We've seen community members ripped from the streets because of the color of their skin or the language that they speak, without due process. And this includes American citizens. Call it what it is: crimes against humanity. on American soil. Our Constitution provides one remedy for unconstitutional conduct: impeachment. That's why we're here today, to endorse the impeachment, conviction, and removal of Donald J. Trump for his tyranny and his treason. This is not a partisan issue, as many of the Courage candidates have already said. I'm a man of few words, but every one of them is sworn to truth. Donald Trump must be impeached, not because I dislike him, not because any of us dislike him, but because he threatens our freedom, our sovereignty, and the rule of law. He is unfit to be an American president, or the president of any country, to be honest. As one of the Courage candidates, I endorse the articles of impeachment for tyranny and treason. As a part of this coalition of patriots, I commit to bringing those articles of impeachment to the floor on day one of my term in the House of Representatives. If a Democrat violates the Constitution, we'll hold them accountable too. Because loyalty to party should never outrank loyalty to country. But impeachment is only the beginning, not the end, of our commitment to a Constitution that protects all people. We must get big money out of politics, tax billionaires and corporations their fair share, and invest in our communities. We must fight for the rights of every American, immigrant, and every neighbor, every LGBTQ plus person who's been told they don't belong. Bigotry has no place in a republic built with liberty and justice for all. It's on us today to build a better future for us and for our children. The status quo does not work, so I don't want to hear another Democrat defend it. And this stagnation has gone on for far too long. It's time to take our country back, together, as the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Citizens Impeach, for putting this on. I also want to say thank you to all the candidates here in the front row. I think we should all give all the candidates here a round of applause just for running. No one really knows what it takes to run for office until you jump into the seat yourself and you realize how much toil it takes on you personally, financially, and mentally. So thank you all for jumping into the fold, because without you running, we don't have a democracy. So my name is Kevin Ryan. I'm a Marine Corps veteran, public school teacher, and candidate to represent Illinois in the United States Senate. After January 6th, the U.S. Senate should have convicted Donald Trump and barred him from ever holding office again. They missed that opportunity. The failures of both parties to stop Trump's return to office prompted me to run for office myself. The actions of the Trump administration run antithetical to the democracy I taught to my students, to the democracy I risked my life for in the Marine Corps Infantry. As our founders needed no clearer evidence against King George than that of which they observed with their own eyes and ears, so too do we need no clearer evidence than what we ourselves have observed. President Trump has disregarded the rule of law. He has sent swarms of officers to harass our people. He has kept among us active duty forces without the consent of our legislatures. He has excited domestic insurrection amongst us and obstructed justice by pardoning those responsible. A man whose character is thus marked by every act which may be defined tyrant is unfit to be President of the United States. The power to convict in cases of impeachment does not rest with any court or judge. It rests solely with the United States Senate. There is no appeal but to that of the convictions of each individual senator. So let my convictions be clear. As the next junior senator from Illinois, should articles of impeachment be presented before the United States Senate on any of the many abuses or betrayals of trust perpetrated by this administration, I will vote to convict and remove from office President Donald J. Trump. And to my peers in the Senate, I appeal to your sincere convictions and commitment to our democracy, that we may once more bind ourselves to the founding principles of this nation and join that common courage which led our predecessors to reject tyrants of old. We will not be the generation that watches our democracy wither to totalitarianism. Rather, we are the generation that is stepping up to seize the torch and meet this moment. History does not just happen. Our history did not just happen. Succeeding generations of Americans stepped up to meet the challenges of their time and progress our society forward towards a more perfect union. Now is our moment. Now is our time. Who will step up? Who will stand with us? Thank you.
Folks, I'm so proud of every single one of you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for stepping up and meeting this moment. Words fail me. I recognize courage and integrity and honor when I see it, and that's what's here in the room with us today. I am humbled to be a part of this movement, and I know that we have the courage and the conviction to meet our country in its time of need. That concludes our press conference. Please meet our candidates. We would love to spread the word about the Impeachment Coalition far and wide. Thank you all for being here.